Hi, today I would like to talk about Zen. The root meaning of that word Zen is meditative state, and of course it is related to the original teachings of the Buddha. It is descending from the original teachings of the Buddha, but compared to the other sects of Buddhism, let's call it for the moment as Buddhism, but I'll explain soon why the term Buddhism is in fact a denial of the original teachings of the Buddha. But let's call it Buddhism for the moment, because they have made it into a kind of, not religion, but somehow a spiritual group. Because when you use the word ism, it becomes an ideology, a group. But in the original teachings of Buddha clearly emphasized that this is not a religion, it's a way of living, it's a philosophy, and a way of living in your daily life. But of course, like any other religion or the spiritual group, there is the original man or the woman who spoke, who said these things, and then the others came, they interpreted, they made it into a group, sect, religion, those kind of stuff. So this also took place in after Buddha has died, though he clearly mentioned that this has nothing to do with that kind of stuff. But anyway, we will come back to that. So a sect, we can say, coming from the original teachings of the Buddha, you might call Zen. Also, the word Zen has lost its meaning too. But if we can go to the very origins of the starting of Zen, it's a totally different thing. I would say that sect is probably the most appropriate one, or the best understanding of the original teachings of the Buddha. But still, I am not very sure whether it is the perfect understanding. So, but let's go into it a little bit because it's interesting. Zen, as we said, the original meaning of that word, the meaning, the dictionary definition, the meaning is meditative state. And Zen is about your everyday living. Zen is everywhere. Zen is in your kitchen, Zen is in your bathroom, Zen is in your work, Zen is in your car. It's basically everywhere. So, some groups now in the East, like the Zen monks, in certain temples, remote temples, for me doesn't mean much. I don't think that is the original understanding of Zen. Because Zen cannot be limited to any temple. Because it's daily living. Meditative state, in a meditative state, in your daily living. Meditative state implies it must have effect in your daily life. In anything, as I said, in the kitchen, when you are cooking, when you are driving, when you are talking, in your relationship, right? So, Zen is about your life, daily life. So, a group of monks going into the mountains and repeating some mantras, I think has no meaning in terms of Zen. In terms of spirituality also, my personal opinion is it has no meaning. But I don't think those kind of stuff has no relationship with the origins of Zen. So, we can push that thing aside. That has nothing to do about Zen. The monks and the repetition of the words and those kind of stuff. So, what is Zen then? those who have a good understanding of Zen and the original teachings of the Buddha, first of all, say that you must have no image of Zen. Like when the word Zen comes, people have already images about what Zen is. Perhaps the monk in the temple, right? Or other things. When you say Zen, but Zen can be anything. It can be anybody, right? Somebody famous can be living in Zen too, and somebody poor also can be living in Zen too, in the middle of the city. It is not about being a monk. So this is important. And also, there must be no image, as we said, of any kind. The original people who were interested in Zen, they said, kill Buddha if you see him on the street, which means no authority. Buddha, this is very important, Buddha himself also clearly mentioned that there is no authority in his teachings, in a spiritual life. Clearly emphasized there must be no authority as the one, the enlightened one, the God, the Savior, those kind of stuff. There is no such thing. Buddha has clearly emphasized this thing, and he mentioned that this is a great barrier to real enlightenment, to have a spiritual authority. Doesn't matter who. It can be Buddha. And that's why the original people who had a better understanding, said, it's like a joke basically, but it has great meaning. They say, kill Buddha if you see him on the street, which means Buddha has no importance. On the contrary, the idea of Buddha, the image of the Buddha, is the denial of what Buddha has originally said. Right? So, that's what they mean by kill Buddha, which means kill the image of Buddha in your mind. Buddha has no importance. You must be the Buddha. That's the thing. You see? But if you look at what is going on in the world in the name of Buddhism, you see that Buddha has also become an object of worship, like any other religion. Right? People are so weak inwardly, they want an object to worship, basically. That's the easiest way. But what Buddha said is much different. It was a philosophy of living, understanding yourself, observation. It's a deep thing. But people really don't want to do those kind of stuff, and they just worship the Buddha, which has no meaning. You can worship anything. Same like worshiping Jesus or any other thing. Any other so-called gods, which are the images we have in our minds. So that has no meaning. And that's a destruction of the light in the original teachings of the Buddha. So that's why in Zen they say kill Buddha if you see him on the street. This is what they mean. There is no authority. Buddha is your friend basically on this path, but he is not the authority. Because authority in a spiritual life, as Buddha has also clearly mentioned, will take you nowhere but darkness. Because that destroys your original understanding, your original seeing. You must see for yourself. That's the origin of light. Light implies I must be a light to myself. I must not depend on anybody for my clarity, which is light. Light is clarity, clear seeing, wisdom. If I depend on anybody, Buddha X, Y, Z, how can I have my own light? And there is only one light. My own light, in the sense that light doesn't belong to anybody impersonal, but my own light means my understanding. I must understand this thing. I must not depend on anybody else's understanding with the inward issues. They might be my friends to talk. Like I am talking, you are talking to me, we are friends. Same like the Buddha. Buddha is not authority, so this is important in Zen. So that's why Zen is original Zen. Now they are destroying Zen as well, but the original Zen is about this, totally different. Right? So, that means Buddha, the Buddha, is not an object to be worshipped. This is important. There is no temple. There is temple. Everywhere is temple. Life itself becomes the temple. The kitchen is the temple. Right? Because Zen is about joyful living, love of living, philosophy of living, which means you love to live. You love to cook. You love the flowers. You love going out for a walk. Right? This is Zen. Love of living in the present moment. So Zen basically is everywhere. The temple is everywhere. Right? There is no specific temple. This is important. What is to explain it in specific a little bit, going into the details, what's it about, the philosophy of Zen? What does it mean? It's basically living in the present moment totally. That's why the very famous thing that comes into your mind when you say Zen is do what you are doing. Eat when you are eating, talk when you are talking, watch when you are watching. Live simple. Right? This is Zen. The most common thing that comes into one's mind when says Zen, this is the first thing. And second is, like, a Zen person is basically doesn't mind anything. That's also true. That doesn't mean he doesn't care. There's a difference. He cares. A person who understands Zen well, he cares about people, about life. He cares. But he doesn't mind. In the sense, in a way, totally surrendered. Anything might happen. The world might come to an end tomorrow. He doesn't mind. He will do his best to prevent things happening. There's a different thing. Zen doesn't mean you don't care. You care. You're intelligent, you care. Not stupid. If a car is coming down the street over there and you see a child on the road, you move the child away. You don't say, I'll watch with a Zen attitude what's going to happen because I don't mind. No. Zen is awakened state of mind, intelligence. But there are things you can't prevent. Some things will happen. That you don't mind. Which means inwardly, you're not affected. Anything might happen. You might lose your job. You might lose the loved ones. Right? If you have a good understanding of Zen, then you care, but inwardly you're not touched. Which means you don't suffer. You don't have fears. And basically you live in the present moment. That is important in Zen. There are certain stories about Zen, like which basically emphasizes no matter what's going to happen in the future, a Zen person enjoys life in this present moment. For instance, a Zen master was just at the edge of a cliff. He was going down. Somehow he came there. It's a story, I don't remember the details. And he just found the tree there. Just he hold on to the tree. For a while, for a few minutes, he will go down. He will fall. And he'll die. But just for a few minutes he stayed there. And he saw some nice fruit there. pick up the fruit and he enjoyed, he ate just before death, a few minutes. This is Zen. Right? No future, no past. Total living in the present moment. Yeah? This is important in Zen. And that implies, naturally, now we are going a little bit deeper into the philosophy of Zen, that implies, naturally, the ending of thought. Our minds are like a monkey. Thought is like a monkey jumping all around. So Zen is about ending that thought, putting that thought into its proper place. So that with the ending of thought, there is living in the present moment. And that's the only way to live in the present moment. There is no other way. This is important. When my mind is lost in thought, or when thought is moving, which means there is no such a thing as thinking about the present moment. It doesn't mean anything. So, for instance, when I'm talking now, if any thought comes into my mind, let's say, somebody will come now. That thought is bringing in time. So my attention in my talk now is divided. With the thought of somebody might come and somehow disturb me. Right? Or the pizza will come. So I must be attentive. Thought, bringing in the future or the past. I might think about, how is this video? Will it be a successful one? Fear. That's originating from past. Right? So any thought basically is time. And when that thought is there, depending on the strength of that thought, I lose my relationship with the present moment. If the thought was very strong, then I am moving into time strongly. Right? Which means I'm losing my total attention here in this thought. The body is here, physically, it's speaking, yes, but the mind is not giving its full attention because thought is bringing other things. The mind is moving away. The body is talking, but the mind is moving away. And Zen is not possible when the mind is away in thoughts, in time. Zen means total living in the present moment, and that can only happen when thought ends. The ending of thought is the ending of time. Then the mind, because there is no thought, there is no time, no future, no past. Thought is bringing in time. If there is no thought, then there is only present moment. You are doing what you are doing. You eat, you drink, you talk, you watch. Simple. You live in the present moment. It is not a complicated thing. It's very simple. But then the thought says, I'll learn Zen and I'll live in the present moment. But then it's again thought. Trying to live in the present moment. That thought has its roots in the memory. Saying I heard about Zen and I'll apply in my daily life. I'll get this water, I'll drink it very slowly. Like Zen. But it's not Zen because thought saying I'll do the Zen thing. And thought is past. It's rooted in the past. So the past dictating my actions in the present moment. So it's not Zen. Zen means you do this thing without knowing. Knowing in the sense, without knowing in the sense You don't know. You totally forgot about Zen and everything. You just live simply. Right? It's somebody who never heard about Zen or anything, generally the young people or the children, the adults, after a certain age, their minds are already so conditioned, Zen is gone totally because they are programmed, acting, thought based on memory and then action, which means computer or program. But there is action in very young people or in the children. They get the water, they drink. Oh, but beautiful! You see, that's Zen. They don't know, you don't know. That's important. In Zen, you don't know that you are Zen person or studying Zen or those kind of stuff. You forget those things. You live. You see, that's why the Buddha has given the example of the boat to cross the river. Okay, at the beginning you understand what does it mean, but there must be a certain point where you should destroy the boat. And that's when the Zen begins. The boat in the sense, all this spiritual stuff and all those stuff. Empty. Die to all those things. Destroy the boat. Kill the Buddha. Right? That's the only way. Otherwise, what's happening is, all around the world, the ego, the self, the thought mechanism is getting stronger and stronger, saying I am Zen now. See how dangerous this thing is, the ego, the thought. Zen means the ending of the ego, the ending of thought, totally. That's very important. And that comes to a way of living in no rush. No rush implies no time. No rush doesn't mean slow. Even it is necessary, you can act quickly, but still in no rush. There is a difference. No rush means you are doing what you are doing. It may be quickly or slowly in terms of physical velocity. But the mind is not in rush. You see the difference? It's very important to understand this thing. Which means the mind is not concerned about the end, the arriving. It's doing what it's doing. It can be quick, physically, chronologically, or slow. They are both Zen as long as the mind is not in rush into the future to finish that thing. Or I'll do this, but I have to leave soon. I'm in a rush. Then there is no Zen. Because then your mind is moving away from the present moment. I need to meet my friend in 10 minutes. My God. I need to finish this video now. You see? I'm in rush now. So, this is an example. I don't need to meet anybody. But if that is the case now, and I remembered all of a sudden I'm giving an example, what will I do? My mind is there because I don't want to be late. My girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend. You shouldn't make the girlfriend wait, right? So, if that is the case, I need to finish this video in rush, so I will be in rush. Which means my mind is going to be concerned about finishing this immediately, getting on the car, going and meeting. Time has come into being. When you are in rush, there is always time. There is no living in the present moment. There must be no rush. So what I suggest is a basic start to Zen. In your daily life, make a simple change. If you have to go to work in the morning, and if you are rushed most of the time, starting in the morning is the most important thing. How you start the day. If you start in rush, it will be in rush. Everything will be in rush. And that means it's probably a wasted day. Because then you have no connection with the present moment. No rush implies you are entering into another dimension of the present moment naturally. You don't need to do anything to enter into the present moment. Just slow down time, which means no rush. This is important. This is one important part. There are many other things, many other doors to enter into the Zen. But this is one important door. No rush. And do something very simple. In the morning, just wake up 10 minutes before the usual time, or 15 minutes. Which that 15 minutes will give you the time gap so that you won't be in rush. And that will have a lot of effect in your daily life. Okay? Plus, if you are going to have a meeting or anything, just arrange this time perfectly so that you won't be in rush. Just start 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. If I'm going to have a meeting at 4 o'clock, then I made perfect calculations. Not to be in rush. So I leave at 3 o'clock, so I'll be there perfectly. You see, these kind of simple chronological time arrangements in your life to prevent no rush, to prevent rush coming into your life, is a very simple thing, but extremely intelligent. Intelligence is simple, in fact, not complicated. So simple. The only true intelligence is simplicity. Simple thinking. I have seen now, we are talking about it, I have seen that rush is a dangerous thing, which will prevent Zen in my life. Which means living in the present moment, which is very important. So, what can I do? Very simple. I use this chronological time so beautifully, so simply, that I remove this rush thing from my life altogether. So simple. You'll see the effects if you do this simple thing. Just a few minutes of play with the time. Rush will be totally gone from your life. And that's an extreme pressure in the brain. Rush. Don't you know, when you are in rush, everything is so confused. There's pressure. You can never give attention to what you are doing. You're stressed. And it has such a bad effect on your brain, on your mind. Which is the ultimate thing you will use to be connected to the natural intelligence. You might call whatever name. The word is not the important thing. Universe, so-called God, whatever. It's the same thing. There is something beyond. Let's not get lost in the words and the lots of images attached to those things. I'll say the natural intelligence, because the moment you say the God, the universe, it's like a big thing. It is a big thing, but not in that sense. It's a simple big thing. There is a great difference. And to be connected to that thing in your daily life, which I think is the only way of true living, happy, full of energy, physically and psychologically. You see, this is very important to understand. Because if you are not connected to that thing, then there is great destruction in the brain, great pressure, all the time, stress. There is no energy. And that energy is vitally important in everything you do, in your life, in your business, everything. That energy basically is the energy of love. So, in the simple act of using chronological time beautifully, simply, intelligently, that connection with the other thing will begin to come slowly. You are opening one window over there with the intelligent usage of the chronological time. This is one door to open to the life of Zen. So very important. These are all interrelated. No rush is not separate from living in the present moment. So when I say this is one door, one window, all these windows are interrelated. You can't open one keeping the others closed. It must be somehow, they must be opened simultaneously. Right? They are all connected. When you begin to open one, the other will be opening at the same time automatically. They are not different. It is not there is one door, one window. Okay, they are different, but they are also connected. This is very important to understand. Generally, in Zen, they say, do what you are doing. Yes, do what you are doing. But if my mind is confused, if I am full of fear, depression and all those, how can I do what? It's meaningless. Doesn't have meaning. So, do what you are doing is the end. Is the beginning also. There's another thing. As I said, like a child can do it sometimes, or a young person sometimes can do it. The action of doing what you are doing without thinking. Thoughtless action, that's also in Zen, they say thoughtless action. Or they call it it, which is the unknown. The unknown in the sense, timeless, thoughtless. You don't know. You don't know when it will come. You don't think and act. Which means Zen. The difference is, in your life you do it sometimes without knowing. You know? You do things sometimes without thinking. Action. That's it. Then you are interested, you begin to interest in Zen, and then you lose that quality. Because then thought process takes over. Say, I am doing Zen, I'll apply it in my daily life. See what's happening. Thought, which is time, dominating your action in the present moment. Then that action is not free like before. Do you understand? Free from time, past, memory, thought. So that's why thoughtless action. Thoughtless action doesn't mean. See, there are many things in one. When you say thoughtless action, then people might understand, wow, I'll act. It is not that. You're very intelligent. Not that you are intelligent, there is intelligence there. Natural intelligence. And then there is action. Right? Okay. Now, yes, at the end, Zen is all about joyful living in the present moment. Like you enjoy everything you do. No, simple. And to be honest, if somebody really understood Zen, I mean, the word master is not really, doesn't mean much. A stupid thing, but let's say somebody who fully understood Zen, I mean, he goes out to the street, he goes to the supermarket, he does this, and nobody will understand, to be honest. He is, let's say, if Buddha comes around and goes to the shops, do the daily shopping, talks to people, nobody will understand he's something extraordinary with this man. You see, this is the whole point. But when you say Buddha, now they have the enlightenment. It is not that. He's a simple, intelligent man. Why, extremely intelligent. And he goes around and he walks, he makes jokes. He enjoys life. He buys stuff. You know? He does some stuff to survive. Business, those sort of stuff. He loves life. Let's say if Buddha is... a Buddha might have talked to you, basically, in your life, without you even realizing it. You might say, what a nice, kind man. There's good energy. That's it, but you won't understand anything else. There'll be no evil energy with the Buddha. That's for sure you will know. You know, he's a good man, you can tell. But you won't see something like a enlightenment, worship, those kind of stuff. That is why anybody see, that's the whole point. Nowadays, there are so many gurus in the world. Business, industry, spiritual, industry. And there are many who claim they are enlightened. Very rich people, most of them. Some are not maybe rich, but they are the authority. You know, they are the authority which is followed. They derive other kind of benefits than the material things. They are even more dangerous, to be honest. Because the other is stupid. He pretends to be enlightened and he wants money. The other is beyond money, but he has the inward pleasure of being worshipped in a subtle way. See, be awake. This is what is going on in the world. All these New Age gurus, personally, after my deep investigation into these subjects, lots of years of deep study work, I can say there are those, the ones that came out. Among the ones that came out, there might be some who didn't come out. They live in a village and they don't care. They live happily. Nobody knows who they are. You don't know who will come, who will not. It depends on the century these people live, the time, right? There might be certain need for the Buddha to come, to talk, act, whatever. And there are other times there is no need, so they are hidden. They live their lives. Among all these, you know, what I can say is, personally, I don't know, I'm not an expert on this thing, but the Buddha, of course. The last one is Jiva Krishnamurti, very intelligent man. And I can say also Rumi as well. I don't know because there are many of his writings before and after. And I don't know whether how originally they are transferred to this time, his sayings. But from many of his poetry, I can say he's one of those as well. So, apart from that, I don't see anybody, to be honest. Now, there is one, I won't give a name, but that gentleman is very famous. Basically, the man of Rolls Royce. I believe he has 365 Rolls Royces. After some time, people discovered, you know, those worshipped. But still, ladies worship him. Even now, today, he's so famous. 365 Rolls Royces. Each one for every day. What are you talking about? What spirituality are you talking about? Not 365 Rolls Royce. Even with one Rolls Royce, the price of one Rolls Royce, you can save the life of many in Africa dying from starvation. Okay, have one Rolls Royce, agree. Two Rolls Royce, okay. But 365 Rolls Royce. And then you say you are the man of love, compassion, and love, that kind of stuff. And also many women and saying some say drugs are implied too. You know, drugs, women. Yeah, nice life, Rolls Royce. Alright, you can have that life if you want to. But don't lie to people, saying you are the enlightened. When you say these things, they say, but we help people. We buy Rolls Royce, yes, I buy Rolls Royce, but I also help. But that's the good old trick. Let me spare most for me, and I'll also give to the others. Meh. And people, so many people, go after this kind of people. I don't know, it is your life. If you want, you can. But at the end, there is nothing. You waste your life. Why do I need to follow a man like this? Or any other those kind of people? If they are clever enough to repeat certain words, they learn from Buddha or Krishnamurti. This man that I was talking about, in fact, has read a lot of Krishnamurti, but then he went to the wrong path. So, and I heard one day he went to see Krishnamurti with his disciples, hundreds of them. And Krishnamurti is an alone man, is the Buddha. They came with Rolls Royces and everything, and then they sat down. It took just a few minutes for them, especially the Buddha, to leave with so much anger. Why? It's very simple, because he started to talk about love as a man who possesses that thing, right? The authority. And Krishnamurti just said, "Sir, can you hold the wind in your hands? Love is free. Nobody can possess love." And he got so angry, and he left with his Rolls Royces and disciples. Right. Today, wow, again, 42 minutes. Quite good. Yes, that is an interesting subject, and we can continue also in other videos as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. And we'll meet again. Thank you very much. If you came to this point, if you didn't find it boring and came to this last minute, thank you so much. And I think it's worth it, to be honest. What do you think? Okay, see you soon. Bye.